talk about our fourth top 5. That's right. We do have 5 top 5s and a top 5 top 5s. Yeah. Got a lot of numbers going on this show. So our fourth top 5 is going to be the top 5 YouTube channels of 2014.
What?
And yeah, so we are excluding ourselves from this unless Brendan already wrote us in.
I did not write us in.
Okay.
I wasn't that selfish.
We're excluding ourselves from this one. Otherwise, it would be number 1 words to my face, and there would be no surprise. It would be too easy. So, Brendan, why don't you go ahead and start us off with your honorable mentions?
All right, my honorable mentions. First is going to be Game Chasers. It's a show. It's actually a really well-produced show about guys that go out and look for retro games for the most part, or really any games. Mostly they're looking for retro games. They go to flea markets. They go to yard sales. They get in contact with people. They used to just go around Texas. Now they've gotten bigger. They go up to game conventions in Canada and hang out with people and everything. And they're pretty fun guys. They get only honorable mention this year because they haven't been very consistent with the material. I mean, they've said why, and they just haven't been able to get as much material, and they've had like injuries and other stuff going on. So that's understandable. But what they have put out has been cool. So they get an honorable mention there. Another honorable mention is going to go out to our man Ryan Celsius for his Ryan Celsius channel. He's been on the show with us. He makes a lot of really nice kind of music video. I always think AMVs, but they're not anime. It's whatever, like movies and indie stuff that he finds, and some cool music.
Yeah, he cuts up some cool things and puts it to music. He's actually one of my honorable mentions. I got Ryan Celsius and Ryan Celsius Music kind of as one honorable mention right there, because he does some good stuff. If you've ever wanted to check out some cool music, or you're like, hey, I like Breaking Bad, I want to see him cut up some crazy stuff to Breaking Bad. You can find that. He's
been a little bit slow lately, but he's told me he's got a lot of stuff in the works right now, and I think he's also just trying to deal with some copyright stuff that was kind of crazy earlier in the year, but good stuff going from there.
Exactly. So that was one of my honorable mentions too. I'll throw out my other 2 honorable mentions, and it was really tough to leave this one off the list, but I did. I really didn't want to. I really enjoy this channel. It's Game Theory. The Game Theorist, I guess, is the channel. Matt Pat, maybe, is the name of the channel. Whatever. It's an awesome show. I love this guy. He breaks down some of the craziest things you've never really thought about thinking about. Where he, I just watched a recent one where he did Link's hook shot, and how really, if there was a real such thing as a hook shot, it would not only weigh more than Link, but it would dislocate every bone in his body when he shot it every time. So he just does some really funny, interesting stuff. And I really enjoy his channel all the way through, and it was really hard for me to leave him off the list. But my next honorable mention is going to be Cinema Sins. If you haven't seen this channel, it's really cool. He does these 10 to 15 minute videos and just points out all the little things wrong with all of our favorite movies, except for the Age of Extinction Transformers 4 one, where he actually had to do 2, he did an hour worth of them, so, because there's a lot of really funny things. But he does it in a very tasteful, very funny way. Just boom, 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 boom. Look, this is crazy. Did you notice this? And just little things that I wouldn't have noticed watching a movie, he notices and wow, that was weird. So, I really enjoy that channel. But Brendan, go ahead and give us your 5 through 2.
All right, at number 5, I'm going to give it to Scotty Kilmer channel. Scotty Kilmer does a lot of car talk, tells you how to repair a lot of cars and what to look for in new cars or used cars, and just a lot of nice car talk for do-it-yourself stuff, and also just knowing what to look out for problems with your car. He does it well. He's been doing it for years. He's been a mechanic, as he keeps saying, for 47 years. So he's an older guy.
Seen it all. He's seen it all.
Yeah. But what really impresses me with him is what he does outside of just the videos. Because this guy, I don't know what he does with his life and how he's possibly can do it, but he responds to so many comments on his videos, and people that have asked random car questions, and he's like, here, and he'll give something there. He's active in his Google Plus community. I even earlier this year said, hey, I have this problem, and he responded to it within a day. He's always just responding to stuff. everywhere. He does videos based off of what people say. Every week he does like a couple hours on Saturday. He just does a hangout like we do, where he's just answering car questions and helping people fix their stuff. So Sky Kilmer, you get number 5. Number 4, I put down Beat Down Boogie, which is really just for Mario Warfare. They do several things. They do a lot of like geeky stuff. They have a couple though really high end shows that they've been doing, or series that they've been doing, and they just finished Mario Warfare. Mario Warfare was a great live action kind of dark take on the Mario story, with just a lot of action, a lot of violence, but a interesting story with a lot of references dropped here and there. So, and really, really well done. They also do some other things that I think are cool. Like they do some anime convention shots and things like that. But Mario Warfare came to an end this year after 2 years. Awesome show. Number 3, I put up Pat the NES Punk. Now, the big reason I put this up is for their completely unnecessary podcast, which is not at least for a long time, was not the main focus of his channel, but now it's most of the content. Like every day, there's a video up about whatever topics they've been talking about, and it's actually a similar format to what we do. They talk about whatever. They talk about mostly games.
They just don't have Handsome Me on this show.
Pretty much, sure.
With a pipe.
But they talk about mostly games, and they talk a lot about like retro games and game collecting. They'll talk a little bit about some movies, and they'll talk about wrestling randomly. But they do a good job. I end up watching every time they have something come out, and it's like once or twice a day. I need to watch it. If I missed it, I need to go back and watch it. It's kind of topical stuff, but not necessarily. They do a good job. I don't always agree with everything they say, but it's fun. You get good dynamic between Pat the NES Punk and Ian on there, and it's good stuff. And every once in a while, he does retro game reviews, which are kind of fun reviews. Like I think he did a Halloween one where one of his friends turns into a ghost and tries to haunt a game that he's playing and things like that. So, good job. And at number 2.
Number 2.
Now, this is actually probably pushed up because of recent events with it. But this one was created this year and has ended this year. That's Screw Attack News. And Screw Attack News, I was talking to Brian about it, was the reason I cared about Screw Attack to a large extent. Prior to Screw Attack News, I did really like the Retro Hunters, but they have been gone for now 2 or 3 years. But Screw Attack News, once a day, you get really quick, kind of funny, but good insight on 3 or 4 game topics going on from that day, and I enjoyed it. I really did. But now they've decided to let it go after 8 years. The channel, they only created the channel, its own channel, this year, and now it's gonna be gone.
Now it's defunct.
Yep.
But all right, so let me do my 5 through 2. So number 5, I got coming in CGP Grey. CGP Grey. Yeah. Awesome show or channel. He does these really quick little animated videos, sometimes up to 10 minutes long, just discussing things like, did you know that there was a city called Londinium inside the London city, and it's a totally different city, and you can only be a citizen of this city if you are in a business. I bet you didn't know that. But he does all these really, really cool videos, like how the penny costs more than a penny to make. It actually costs like 1.8 cents to make a penny, so crazy stuff. He just really informational videos, does it really, really smooth. The animations are awesome. Also does things like on voting and how to make voting simpler. He just has a lot of really cool ideas. I just really enjoy his channel, so check him out. So he's my number 5. In at number 4, Philip DeFranco channel. I enjoy the guy. To be honest with you, he's kind of an inspiration to me. I like the guy. Don't always agree with what he says, like Brendan says about the end of this punk. But he does what he does, and he does it very, very interesting. And he puts it out in a way of, hey, this is my opinion. Think about things. And not everybody ever thinks about things. We should more. That's all I'm going to say. Brendan, think more.
You think more.
And he's not even paying attention to me talk. So,
What's today's
and then
job?
coming in at number. And then coming in at number 3. No, you were just too deep in thought to pay attention to me. So what I was saying was just totally wrong.
You were actually just breaking up for me, so I'll try and make out what you were saying. So.
Okay, well, it happens. But coming in for me at number 3, the comic historian. This guy's awesome. If you've ever wanted to know anything about like any comics and you wanted it in 15 minutes or less, he's got it for you. I can't tell you how many like bios I've seen of him, how many like storylines I've seen him do. Like he did the Night of the Owls one, and I had never known what that was. That's a Batman, really cool storyline. He did like Avengers Disassembled. He just amazing. He goes from DC to Marvel to DC to Marvel. It's honestly where I learn about a lot of the comic book stuff I know about, because who has time to go back and read 50 years worth of comics? Not me. Not me. So he does it, and he does it in a really... He narrates it cool, too. He's got a good way of narrating the story. He skips a lot, don't get me wrong. Some of these stories he's doing, like, I think he did the original Sin, the Marvel, team-up thing, crossover event, and that's like 8 comics. He did that in 10 minutes, but he tells you what you need to know what the basis of the story was. So he just does that really, really well. I really enjoy the comic story. And then my number 2 is that one video gamer, the completionist. I just love watching this guy play video games. Now, I honestly, almost 50% of the time, I disagree with his ratings on games. Like, he hated Skyrim. I love Skyrim. Now, granted, I played it for like 150 hours. He played it for over 600 hours just to complete everything. So maybe I would get sick of it by that time, too. But I don't always love what he does with like how he reviews the video games, but he goes through and he beats everything. Everything. Like, this guy has got some stick-to-itiveness, some fortitude to get through some of these games. And he does a lot of variety of games. He goes all the way back to Nintendo games. He just did Shinobi. Like, I was like, wow. And that's one of the hardest games of all time.
I think I watched probably all of his videos on, or most of them on Final Fantasy VII. He did a lot of Final Fantasy VII ones.
Oh, and that was an amazing... He had a Final Fantasy VII month, and I didn't even mention that. He went through every property that has to do with Final Fantasy VII, explaining everything you have to know before the story starts. Each disc he goes through. Then he goes through the movie. Dirge of Cerberus. He goes through... There was another 1 or 2 things he goes through after
Crisis
that.
Core, whatever, the other games.
Core. And he does an amazing job, and I was just blown away. That was actually my first introduction to the completionist. I actually watched his entire series on Final Fantasy VII when I was on a train ride up to Boston to see my little sister graduate. So it was amazing, and he's very entertaining, and he writes it great. The comedy's good in there. Just everything seems to hit with him. So I watch him.
There's several guys on that show too, and they do pretty good helping.
But Beardman. And he does have
they have some good like comedy back and forth with them too. Yeah.
Yes. It's just the channel overall, or is it called Normal Boots? I don't know what it's called, but overall, it's just excellently done and produced, and you can tell they put a lot of work into it. And I know there's not too many guys on that show. There can't be more than 4 or 5. But they do some awesome, awesome things. So he definitely comes in at my number 2, because he'll put on a 20-minute video, and YouTube retention span is hard to keep. I watch 20 minutes all the way through solid. I mean, I can't turn away from a lot of these, and I almost have to watch it every week when he puts up a new video. So I applaud you guys. But that brings us down to our number 1 YouTube channels. Brendan, why don't you kick us off with your number 1?
Do I give the number 1 or a surprise educational honorable mention for the people like to think, because Brian mentioned thinkers?
Okay, but you got to keep it quick.
60 Symbols. It's good. Physics channel. They do really quick stuff without going too in depth. They do stuff like why at the speed of light do things not act out simultaneously? Weird stuff like that.
All right, fine. If we're going to give really quick educational hits, Minute Physics. They do a lot of really cool things and explain like why there are different colors and different things like that. So that's really cool too. Fine. One more educational quick one. Crash Course. They go through a lot of different history and stuff. And they do it very entertainingly. So, all right. There's our educational ones. Yay, education. And Brendan, you want to give us your number 1?
Rocket Jump. Because this year they came out with the final chapter, the final season 3, of VGHS, which would have been one of my top TV shows if we included YouTube
Doesn't
TV
count as
shows.
TV shows. Doesn't count as TV shows.
I mean, they even have it on Netflix.
Doesn't count as TV shows.
All right, well, whatever. But really good series. I personally really like the VGHS stuff. The first season, honestly, they put in a lot of kind of corn.
Give my number one, and my number one is Words from My Face. I know we said we weren't going to do it in the beginning, but no, I'm joking. It's not my number one because there is a channel that rises above them all, and that is Marvel Explains. This is a channel, I believe it's only been going for this year. So, like, if I was trying to say ones that just started this year, it started this year. This guy goes through the most in-depth stories Marvel has out there. And he did the Infinity War, he did the Civil War, he did Original Sin, he's doing right now where we're seeing Age of Apocalypse, he's going through that, he did Days of Future Past. Not only that, but he goes in-depth and explains like the origins of some of our favorite characters in Marvel. Wolverine, Spider-Man, all these guys are really, really super in-depth with him. Adam Warlock, a character that you probably don't know about, but he's going to become very, very integral to the Marvel universe. So he does some of the best YouTube explanation videos out there, and the coolest thing about it is he shows you like page by page, and he explains, okay, you know, this is what is pretty much going on, and he does it very well. And to be honest, he's got a good voice for it, so that helps because you see him narrating almost over every single page, and it's awesome. And I think he's I heard something somewhere, he's actually turning this into a full-time job. He went from 0 subscribers, I think, at the beginning of the year to over 100,000. So not only does he do a great product, but he's kind of an inspiration story for all YouTubers out there that don't have too many YouTube viewers. You know, little shows like Words from My Face. But yeah, he does an amazing job. So if you haven't checked out Marvel Explained, check it out. It's awesome. Yeah, you can... So many different stories. He's doing Avengers Disassembled. He's doing the Death of Wolverine. I could keep going, but I don't think I need to. Just check out. You'll understand what I'm talking about if you watch the channel. So that was our top 5 YouTube channels of 2014. Hit us up if there's any YouTube channels we left off. Any of your favorites, hit us up, comments down below. Of course, at Where's My Face on Twitter, Google Plus and Facebook. Always good ways of getting a hold of us.